Well guys, we're back home trying to catch up on some work. Wanted to kind of go over how the truck did, what I seen happen, and just general. So I wound up selling the wheels off the truck just to help pay for everything. Popped one tire. Should have got the other one. It was probably 10 or 15 seconds away from popping. It was real close. I mean close. But learned a lot from that, and we'll go back next time and get them both. So the plans for this is going to be, I'll yank this 5.3 400 out. If I can afford it, I would like to go ahead and have the 400 put a manual valve body in it, have it rebuilt. That way it's good to go. The 5.3 I'm not going to do a lot. I'm going to pull it all apart, cam bearings. I'll check the rod and main bearings, but if they're good, I'll just reuse those. But definitely want to do cam bearings. Still had like 20 something pounds of oil pressure in it, but just to do it, buy once, cry once. Just go ahead and redo it, and hopefully it'll last for a while. I'll throw just a regular Gen 3 intake on it. I just put this stuff back to stock, mostly stock, just for a reliability standpoint, and if I need to have a spare part, I've got spare parts. Gave back the turbo I borrowed. I haven't decided if I want to do a single again or twins, but I am thinking about doing a air to water setup. That way I can just throw some ice in the ice box right before the burnout, sand it, keep the IATs down. Just something cheap, build it myself. Maybe do a cooler or something that's just real cheap with just a cheap 12 volt pump for like a boat, for like a what do you call it, sump pump or purge pump or whatever you call those things on boats. Either way, not going to be a whole lot done to it. I don't really know what caught on fire either, because the only thing that's burnt is down through here, like straight up through here. So I'm assuming it's power steering fluid, since there's none left in the pump, but I don't know how or why it came out, or even what caught on fire, because none of the header wraps burnt. I mean, it's wet down in here, but other than that, I don't really know what happened. Well, that boot's really wet. Either way, yeah, nothing a lot's gonna change except for the turbo kit, and maybe air to water. I haven't decided yet. Interior wise, I'll probably pull this seat out, leave everything else the same, pull that seat out, put a Kirky or something in it. I don't know, just whatever I can find cheap or used, or whatever I can throw in here, but nothing changing there. I am going to keep the Holly on this truck instead of putting it on the dually. The dually, the 6-liter that I have for it, I'll just leave it naturally aspirated with a rebuilt 4L80 and the 6.0, and just make it reliable enough to pull wherever I need to go. Now the rear end I knew was going to be an issue, because after I did the mini spool, it was grinding really bad on this outside bearing, and after the burnout, after we parked, it was leaking fluid everywhere. So that's probably going to be shot. Well, it's going to be shot, but if the housing is still okay, I'll just rebuild that 10 bolt, put a Eaton style posi unit in it. That way it's not got the mini spool or a full spool, and I can still take us out on the street and drive it, because I like to drive my stuff. There's no reason to have something like this and not be able to take it to McDonald's. But other than that, that's about it on this truck. It did good. It did what it was supposed to do. It went out, did the burnout, and drove back up on the trailer. And now that we're back from Bristol, I've got to start on all this stuff. I've got to redo the steam ports, or fix the leaks on the steam ports on that one, find a couple leaks on that one, figure out why third gear's lost in that one, and then go ahead and rip the engine and trans out of the dually, get that 350 400 out of there, and I got that single cab on the other side. Got to get the 5.3 4060 dropped in it. Just a lot of stuff I got to get back and catch up on. I may or may not have forgot the oil drain when I started the truck up right before Bristol, so I had to, yeah, I don't want to talk about all that. Now this truck's getting, I'm having issues with, not with the fuel system, but figuring out how to have the selector switch work between tanks when it's an 85, so it didn't have electric fuel pumps. But shouldn't be too awful hard. I've got all the new it's like selector valve, and I've got all that stuff, all new fuel system. It's got a sniper on it. I've got one filter here. I'll do another filter down on the rail. This one's coming together. I've got to figure out what I want to do for a coolant temp sensor. If I get the housing with the MPT plug on it, so I can put the coolant temp sensor in there, because the place that's made for it is right under this and won't fit. So figure all that out. This one shouldn't take too much longer, but I've just got to get everything caught back up. That weekend at Bristol got me wore out, and now I just got to catch up on everything. Speaking of which, the people that I told, you know, I ordered this turbo for Bristol, and you know, I ordered everything right, paid for everything right, but you know, I'm not putting blame on a whole lot of people, but they sent me everything wrong. So they sent me the 0.96 back housing, so they sent me that back housing when it's supposed to be the 1.25. So they sent that, but they sent the 1.25 downpipe flange, and then didn't even send me the compressor flange. So I'm having to go through all that. I'll send that out and try to get everything back for that, because hopefully this turbo is going to be going on that red 84 C10 either later this year or next year or something like that, because I bought this one for the dually with the 1.25 housing. This is the VS 7875, but now since I'm not boosting the dually, it's just going to keep it NA, because I need to keep it the reliability way up in case I try to take it to Florida or wherever for Cleetus and cars. I'm gonna let this one go, and I'll just, you know, that 6 liter, I'll just do it's a higher compression 6 liter, because it's flat top Gen 4 pistons and 243 head, so it should pull really good.